when it was time to do it, did not
Oh
have lash glue, so I
oh
used
my god.
E6000.
Girl, not A6000 on your lip, right? Was
Yes,
it on your lips?
it felt
Okay.
like a lip plumper, honestly. Like it felt like lip plumping on gloss. So like if you've done that before, then you know how it felt. It honestly wasn't that bad.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Queer Vision. Today we sat down with Kai, a local drag artist in North Carolina, a show producer, season 2 ballroom drag battle finalist, a plethora of things, just an overall creative spirit. This was a really good talk for anyone who wants to start drag, anyone who wants to get into show producing, or really just accepting your own art and going through the internal battles of what you want versus what everybody else may want from you. It was a really good episode, and you should keep watching.
Also, this is Koee and I'm Becca.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even do introductions. It's early in the morning. I'm Koee Star.
I'm
This is
Becca.
Becca. And this is the Queer Vision Podcast.
We're co-hosts.
We're co-hosts and co-founders.
Come for the ride.
Come for the ride. Yeah. Keep watching. Hello, and thank you for sitting down with us at the Queer Vision Podcast today,
Of
bright and
course.
early at 9 a.m.
Oh my God, the funny thing is, I thought it was at 8 because the calendar app is stupid, and so I got up at 6:30 and was like, let me do my fave, and then I realized it was at 9, and I was like, well, at least I'm early.
Aw.
Oh, the way that I had an alarm set and then I was going to be up at 6, woke up at 5, fell back asleep. My phone died somehow.
Oh
It woke
God.
up like about 30 minutes ago, but we're here.
I'm still laughing that your phone was dying all night last night and then you didn't plug it
That's
Say,
for real though, honestly.
in.
so yeah, for the viewers, give them the little blurb about who Kai is, your name, your pronouns, all that fun stuff.
So like Cody said, my name is Kai. Pronouns are she, her, in drag, he, him, out of drag. But honestly, I'm not too strict about those. I'm a drag artist located in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been doing drag for about 2 years now. It was 2 years in July. Um, and honestly, I'm just a simple person who likes art. I love fashion. That's usually my main medium when it comes to drag. I love makeup, as you can see. And yeah, I just love honestly anything clothing, art, pretty simple person. But yeah, that's a little spiel on me.
Aw. It's
Period.
nice to meet you officially.
Likewise.
So what got you into drag the first time?
Honestly, I had friends that were doing drag. So originally, I want to say junior year of high school. I had friends that I did makeup and like knew that they wanted to do drag. Um, and I always knew I had an interest in makeup and like painting and art and stuff. Like it was so bad, I was like going into Kroger and like stealing, makeup because that's how
Girl.
bad I wanted to do it. But obviously, like Christian Southern family, obviously boy makeup, no. So I was like stealing makeup. Um, and then, like I said, I had friends that do it, and we would literally just sit on the phone and do makeup and practice makeup. I think originally I kind of thought I would kind of be like somebody that did like hair or was into like wigs or would just like stay into fashion. Um, but I always knew I liked to dance, regardless if I did it well or not. And I knew that I like to entertain and make people laugh. So honestly, kind of like just meshing all of those interests together, that's kind of what got me into drag. But for the most part, I think it was the influence of my friends that already had an interest in it.
Yeah, that definitely helps when you have like that community around you and the people to like push you in that direction. I feel like
Absolutely.
when I started makeup, it was kind of the same way. Like there was just a bunch of people that were like, "Oh my God, you need to get in makeup. You need to do makeup. You need to." And I was like, "Okay, fine. Like do makeup on me like once and let me see how I feel." And since then, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is it." Um,
Absolutely. I think one of the first people I saw that really like pushed me to do makeup outside of my friend group was her name is Nature Look. She's actually the person that inspired me to do like my bright under eye. There's like this brand I'm sure you know, P. Louise, like when they came out with that like concealer. That was like one of the first ones I bought and like used it. And it was just, I fell in love after that. I just knew makeup was like, yes, like work on it, work on that craft. And honestly, it's been fun ever since. Like, I love just scribbling on my face and making up stuff.
Yes. I love the Selena Gomez look that you did recently.
Thank
And
you. I have always wanted to recreate that, and I've seen other people do it before. And I was like, okay, like lash glue. When it was time to do it, did not have lash glue, so I
oh
used
my
E6000.
girl, not 18,000 on your lip, right? Was
Yes,
it on your lips?
it felt
Crazy.
like a lip plumper, honestly. Like it felt like lip plumping on gloss. So like if you've done that before, then you know how it felt. It honestly wasn't that bad. It honestly wasn't. But I was like, you know what? Anything for the picture.
That it's and that brings me to the fact
I can't.
that I think doing drag has made me more unhinged with my health. Like,
Speak on it, girl.
I feel like when you get into drag, you're just like, is this skin safe? We'll find out. Like,
Literally, and the gag is I tried to use that same glue to glue on lashes today because I still can't find the lash glue. It didn't work, but it's
girl,
okay. So I can
you better
still
be careful.
see for the most part.
Do not get that stuff in your eye. It is so bad. Not, I did not do it. I promise you. But I can tell that shit burns.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
Like, I don't know,
God.
I'm just that type of person. I'm just like, why not? Like, I still have that like childlike curiosity to me. So I'm kind of just
Mhm.
like, why not? Like, even if I know it's like probably not the best or it's harmful, just in general, I'm probably just gonna, oh wow. I'm probably just gonna be like, yeah, let me just do it. Because why not? Like, not that I want to go blind, but I didn't have any last. I just like exploring all my options to say the least.
I cannot. Oh my
So we
god.
have E6000 lash glue, we have stapling of the tongue, and we have chugging milk on stage.
This has been our podcast so
I'm gonna
far.
be very I'm gonna be very clear that we are not encouraging people in the audience to do these things. But I'm interested to see where we go from here.
I have done the chugging milk on stage a few times actually, so I actually
Yeah.
10 out of 10 recommend.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think you were up there for her kitty cat number. That number I feel like will live in everyone's head forever. And it's really
Thank you so much. I kind of take from different things and just put it together and then it makes sense in the end, at least in my head.
yeah.
I think I first did it at, were you on the judges panel? I don't remember. I think you might have been at Koe show. Not Koe show, I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
The
Vermilion
House of
show.
Youth. House of Youth.
Yes. Yes, that was the first time. Was that the first time I did it? I think that was the first time I did it. And I was like, I won off of this. So I think I should do it again. And I just kind of kept building on it and trying to get the outfits together and like trying to like just edit it to make it perfect. Um, and so that was kind of the confirmation. I think winning off of that number and then being high in the competition when I did it was like the confirmation, like, okay, do this repeatedly. Because
Mm-hmm.
first I had the Sandy Cheeks number and people that was I got a like positive reception of that. And I was like, okay, so let me play off the animal thing again.
Mm-hmm. Do you so that brings me to a question. How do you feel about like repeating numbers? I feel like that's so like back and forth in the drag community. Some people will repeat a number, some people like strictly never. I'm trying to get in the habit where I repeat numbers more because I know there's like good numbers that I've only done once. But yeah, what's your take on that?
Me personally, I feel like I've always felt like newer queens, like if you're a year in, 2 years in, do the same number, so you have your staples.
Mm,
In terms of a more conceptualized number, I think it's okay to do it repeatedly as long as it's getting better each time. And
yeah.
so that's why I'll still do the kitty number, but I haven't done it in a little bit just because I haven't had anything to add on to it. So the
Uh-huh.
next step is to possibly get like a whole cat prosthetic, cat face prosthetic, and like actually
Yeah.
paint my body. Um, there's a Monster High character. I think her name is Caddy Noir, which I'm really inspired by Monster High. I'm a drag
Uh-huh.
in general. So that's the next step. So I feel like there's nothing wrong with repeating numbers as long as you can build off of it each time. Um, but yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, going to certain shows and then I'll hear a Queen's mix and I'll be like, I've seen you perform this, and it's the
Mhm,
same thing. And that's not necessarily bad, but
mhm.
I mean, to someone that's seen someone perform repeatedly, it's kind of boring. And so
Yeah.
I strive not to be boring. So like I said, as long as you can keep adding piece by piece, if you do the number, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
That's
That
fair.
that's kind of I feel like how I look at it too. I mean, I think sometimes too, like obviously if you're in a different city, like super far out, I feel like that also makes kind of sense. But yeah, I would agree. And also, a fun little thing to I guess bring up is you were um first alternate for Ballroom Drag Battle season 2.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was. I don't know, my brain is weird. I honestly didn't have a reaction in the moment. I don't know if they filmed it or what, but when they announced my name, I didn't really have a reaction. I don't know why. It was kind of like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Everybody tend like obviously I appreciate the congratulations and like first alternate
Mhm,
is a great thing. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm just a jaded person or if like
mhm,
I just don't take compliments well, but it's kind of just like, yeah, or like whatever to me. And that's
mhm,
not me disrespecting Portia or anything. I
mhm,
think it's just because when I went into the competition, I wasn't fully financially prepared. And so I know that like it wasn't my best. And
mhm,
so I think I kind of like disassociated throughout the competition and was just like, well, do this, and this, and really didn't have a chance to enjoy the competition. I wasn't in the moment. And that's something I struggle with a lot. I'm usually in my head 24/7, and I'm usually not focusing on the present. And so that's why a lot of times I don't know if you experience this when you perform, you just black out and you're just
yeah,
like,
and
bro, what the fuck just happened? And then you watch the video back and like, oh, this was cute, or like whatever. But
mhm,
I think I did that throughout the whole competition. So when like it was announced that I was like top two, I was kind of like, oh, I guess. Which I didn't think was gonna happen just because my stats, I hadn't won anything. Like I hadn't won the main challenge. And I wasn't in the bottom either, but I felt like I kind of just coasted through the competition for the most part. And so
yeah,
I was kind of just like I didn't see it for me, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I was grateful to be top four.
mhm,
But yeah, honestly, I don't know if I would do All Stars just because of finances.
mhm,
But I do think if I was to do All Stars, I would come back and, with better drag, obviously, and just honestly try to enjoy each week and take each week um
mhm.
for what it is. And definitely be more prepared. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the reasons why I ended up, not doing it because I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can just put my best foot forward, which I think that you, from what I saw, you did. But I also understand that inner critic of being like, oh, I could have done so much more. I had these ideas that were bigger than like my
Mhm.
finances allowed me to be, which is a hard place to be. And equally, like, I don't know, just some of that it almost sounds a little bit like imposter syndrome or,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
just, like, being like, "Oh, I kind of coasted through, so do I really deserve to be, like, in the top 2?" But you are a sickening drag artist, and
Thank
you
you.
should, stand in that power, but I also equally understand how hard that can be at times.
Yeah, especially there was I don't know if you've seen like I don't know if you follow Julia Fox, either of you, but she had this look that she did where she was like surrounded by like roses and then there was like a red dress and it was kind of like
Oh.
the Mugler Birth of Venus hair where it was like kind of like a statue. And I wanted to do something like that. But I just couldn't construct the thing that was around her. It really wasn't just it wasn't happening. I tried
Mhm,
to use cardboard, I tried to use styrofoam. I tried to use just other mediums, and it just wasn't working out. And so I was kind of just like, eh, like I wasn't feeling it. I was like, this isn't what I want to do. So that's how I got. I was like, I still want to do the red because I think red is a bold color to do for week one, and I think that's why I
mhm,
know Shane most of the cast was red, were red for week one because it's like boom,
mhm,
which isn't a bad thing, but. So like little stuff like that was just happening. It was the money I also was going through. Financial issues with because I was rooming with two other castmates, so we were also just going through our own financial situation, which made it harder. There was behind the scenes drama, which I'm not gonna get into right now, because I'm not trying to bash anybody.
Mhm.
mhm,
But yeah, it was just a lot, honestly. And so I think if I was to go back or I was to do another competition or a pageant, I would definitely try to enjoy every aspect of it because I feel like I'm putting money, time, and energy into this. Why wouldn't I be having fun?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how yeah, I've always tried to look at it too, and it's hard. It's really hard to get your brain in that space, especially if you find yourself as more of a competitive person, it's hard to be like, "Oh, I'm just here to have fun," but that really, I mean, is what it is all about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um,
How do
And
you get
honestly,
sorry.
drag is supposed to be fun, but I feel like I'm not gonna lie. I feel like RuPaul's Drag Race has definitely monetized drag to
mhm,
a
Mhm.
different extent, and I feel like this is supposed to be fun, but at the end of the day, this is the business. So it's
yeah,
kind of hard to one sit back and take breaks because there's new queens every day. A lot of the girls don't want their spot taken.
yeah,
Two, it's kind of just like it's kind of stressful because it's like, okay, so now I feel like I have to do something new every time because not
Mhm.
only are
mhm,
these queens, on the show doing these expensive looks. And I don't watch Drag Race, but I've seen the change of how people feel like they have to just do something new every time because this is what Drag Race is doing. And then the crowd audience members, you know, they're expecting that because they're not fans of drag, they're fans of Drag Race. And
yep,
so
Right.
honestly, I think it's just really interesting how that has, just affected the local drag scene, which it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing depending on who you ask. But
mhm,
I don't know, there's a lot of pressure there to constantly elevate, which I like to elevate anyway. So it's not really a bad thing per se necessarily, but it does get frustrating when you do still have to survive and, you still want to invest into your art. So I
mhm,
think that's
Mhm.
just interesting, honestly.
Yeah, so you've talked multiple times about, like, getting in your head too much a little bit, like, how do you pull yourself out of your head whenever you're in these spaces? Because I can see you're literally, like, you're logicking, like, "Okay, do I need to go more this direction so I can catch more eyes? Do I need to go this direction, but I can't quite afford that yet?" Or like different things where you're just like I can just see you conceptualizing every single aspect of what could make you a more well-known or more I don't know what the word I'm trying to say, but like the performer that like pops off on stage, right? The one that everybody remembers, memorable. Um so how do you get out of your head so you can enjoy the performance? Because I feel like that's the majority of what performance is supposed to be, right? You're supposed to, like, feel your art, right? And you literally just talked about the fact that you didn't feel like you felt it. So how do you get out of your head when you get in those moments to enjoy it?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, not to bring nostalgia, but I am in a Aquarius moon, so I feel like I'm naturally in my head all the time.
Fair.
So it's not just let me do this to get out of it. I feel like it's
mhm,
comfortable for me, honestly, to sit in my head instead of emotions and sit in logic. So honestly, I don't see it as a bad thing per se. However, I will say a lot of times to enjoy it more, that's usually why I do the same number because I know I'm gonna kill it or I know I'm gonna enjoy it. Um, a lot of times my numbers aren't rehearsed or like there'll be like a 8 count that's rehearsed, but in general, everything that I'm doing is thought of in the moment.
mhm,
So
Mm.
it's like I think that aspect of me just doing anything, like there was a moment when I performed the kitty mix on stage during the competition, like I knocked the cup off the table. I didn't plan on doing that. I didn't know a man was gonna have an empty cup on the thing. So
mhm,
like little stuff like that, and then like also feeding off of the crowd's energy. If you hear the crowd screaming or if you hear the crowd cheering or like a yes girl in the
mhm,
crowd, that's gonna like, make you feel happy, like, okay, keep going, keep doing that, or keep like,
mhm,
But I don't know if either of you have like vision impairment, but I'm blind as a bat right now even. So like a lot of times I have to listen. I'm listening to the crowd, but also to the
Mm.
track because I can't see people's faces. So I
oh,
think, like I said, audience reaction. Also knowing if the mix is good or not. Like
mhm,
I enjoy making mixes, but I like stupid shit. I feel like that's where there's an intersection of my drag of like glamour and stupidity. And so I
mhm,
feel like just immersing myself in that makes me enjoy it when I really enjoy the mix and I really know that like I can play up a campy side or I can play up, giving emotion, which I also enjoy. I think that also helps me enjoy it a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I think me being in my head to circle back around is comforting for me because I
mhm,
feel like I don't know, a lot of times I feel like emotions it's not linear and I feel like logic is or it can be. And so I feel like it just makes it easier for me.
That's fair.
yeah, honestly, I can see that, and honestly, it sounds a lot like when you're on stage or you're, like, going into, like, that space, you're leaning more into that character side,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
seems to be helpful, and I feel like it is for every drag artist, honestly, but I had no idea that you were, like, that visually impaired, that you really couldn't see anybody's faces, because
No,
that's
girl,
oh, girl.
horrible. Like, I think my prescription is like -4.5, and that was
Wow.
like an old prescription, so I think it's worse now. Like, I remember one time I had a show with Callie at PS, not PS37, I don't remember where it was, and she had a dollar and was like out in front of me, and I didn't see it. And all that came at the like when we were driving home, and she was like, "Girl, Callie had a whole dollar in front of you," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't see it." And she was like, "Yeah, I had to tell her that like." She's blind, she can't see you, like, because Callie was like, "Why didn't she take my dollar?" But I really didn't see it. And the gag is like, oh my God, like I have two different prescriptions in like each eye, so it's like contacts are like $300. So it's like blind until I get some. But honestly, I'm sure I can get cheaper ones. I've just been lazy, honestly, if I'm keeping it real. But
See,
yeah.
but honestly, for your makeup to be as cunt as it is, and to be visually impaired, they gotta watch
Thank you.
out.
I'm literally in the mirror like, but honestly, I feel like I don't know if it's you, but my favorite stuff is like powdering. So like
Um,
I feel like it blurs everything. So honestly, I'm just like, I don't
Girl,
know. But also like I feel like the light helps a lot as well. Because
that is so
sometimes I'll look at
true.
my makeup and I'll be like, girl, really? And then I see it on stage and I'll be like, oh, that was
Mhm,
Honestly, I think it kinda helps. So, like, I mean, I got LASIK, so I have, like, better eyes now.
hmm
It doesn't fix astigmatism, which fuck you, LASIK, but it's fine. But, like, I kind of feel like, looking back at whenever I had a lot of visual impairment as well, like, I feel like you kind of want that blurred look. Like, you can, like, look back at
hmm
yourself a little bit easier than, like, somebody that can, like, see all of the details and be like, "Okay, how is this actually gonna look on stage?" Because you can just literally just lean back from being, like, shoved up to the mirror and be like, "Oh, this is what people will see. Okay, cool. This looks good."
Right.
And then, like, that is more of a show of what it'll actually seem like whenever you are on the stage instead of like, "Oh, they'll be able to see, like, this specific line." No, they won't. No, they won't.
Right, and I had to realize that as well because I'm very self-critical or just critical of everything, honestly. And I'll zoom in and I'll be like, okay, this powder is good, this powder's good, or this whatever, whatever. Usually the most I've enjoyed my makeup is when I use straight white powder. Like
Mm,
this right now is airspun, so it's kind of like neutral. But
mhm,
like when I use straight white, it was so smooth. I don't know. I just love the drama
mhm.
of that. And so it was I think it was a flex gig I had, and I was just looking at pictures and zooming in, and it was so like smooth, no craters, no nothing. And I was like, oh yeah.
I
mm.
love I I love when, like, ideas just, like or thoughts just flow away, because
Oh my
this happens to
god.
me every episode.
It's
I
the big
had
magic.
something and it's gone, but that's okay.
I mean, it actually kinda makes sense though that, like, the white would be a little bit, like, more smooth and stuff like that because it's so reflecting of the light that, like, it just
hmm
ignores all of the flaws that are on our faces. That kind of makes
Yes.
sense that, like, that powder, like, fills it in and reflects it, on the stage at least. But I mean, from here, like, okay, like, to be honest, you're, like, this big on our screen, but, like, you look really pretty from here. I'm
Thank
sure you look even better
you.
in person.
No, I'll take the computer.
Oh my god.
No, but I've been told that about multiple times by like pageant queens or whatever. Um, that I do look good in person, so I mean, I'm not sure. Not gonna say I don't believe him because I know I look good, but
Mhm,
girls. But honestly, I think the white powder, the bright under eye came from Morticia Adams. From
Oh,
the
yeah.
Abbott family, like the black and white version, not the black and white versions, but like how the light would literally be right here and there'd be an emphasis
mhm.
like right here. And I always thought that was so sickening. Um, so I was like, why not do that on my face? Um, I had like an ex drag mentor kind of. They didn't really care for it, and so I kind of like stopped doing it and kind of did more of the natural makeup because they were more of a pageant queen, and so I was like, not necessarily this is what I have to be because a part of me, I'm the type of person where if I want to do something, I'm probably gonna have my own thoughts about it and still want to
Oh,
do it. So obviously I went back into it. But when I did like kind of like the neutral makeup, it was fine. I just didn't I wasn't like I wasn't gagging over it. I was kind of just like, I just looked like I just put makeup on. But like
Right.
I don't know, I just feel so much more happier when it's a bit more drama when it's like the white. I don't know, it
Mhm.
feels a bit more me, it feels a bit more dramatic, it feels a bit more just doll like. I think that's always like kind of I always try to add this a doll aesthetic in with my face or even my looks.
Mhm.
Because like I
Mhm.
said, I'm really inspired by Monster High. So
Yeah, I for one love it. I love the drama of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what one of my favorite things in drag is when people do have that very extremely contrasted kind of makeup and mug. Like
mm,
it just adds another layer. Like,
absolutely.
It feels like an art. Like, I feel like I mean, obviously, all makeup is an art, let's be honest. Like, being able to blend and shape and all this stuff is amazing. But, like, I feel like whenever I see the performers or even just, like, people in general that, like, especially in the alt crowd would like to, like, wear amazing makeup that is way different than conventional, um, it just, like it just feels like there's just art on somebody's face. Like, their face just becomes the art. And so it's, like,
hmm
more dramatic that way. Not that we don't notice whenever somebody's in full glam and it looks great, but it's just not as eye-catching, I think, for me.
Absolutely. I usually prefer alt makeup, and don't get me wrong, I love a beauty mug, a glamour mug, obviously, but I feel like that there's something, like you said, it's more striking.
Mhm.
Unless it's unless the blend is just so amazing on like a beauty mug, I'm
mhm,
usually more captured by like the alt makeup. I don't know, cause I feel like, don't get me wrong, obviously creativity goes into all makeup, but I feel like there's like a slight edge or a little bit more creativity when it goes into like special effects and even the type of makeup you do, probably. I think there's just a tad bit more, or at least there has to be, in my opinion, a tad bit more thought.
mhm.
Um, because anybody can do a smoky eye, but
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can, do what you do or do
Okay,
what
sure.
another artist does. So I definitely agree with that.
That also brings me to like a good point of like, I think you ride this line between like alternative queen, but still kind of more traditional in a way.
Mhm.
How do you view yourself in that space?
I 100% agree with you. I don't know. I view myself as like kind of like someone, I feel like this term is so overused, but a chameleon queen. I
Mhm.
hate that
Mhm.
term so much, but I feel like that's the only way to describe me in a sense. I feel like I pull from different things. I feel like one day I want to do this and one day I want to do that, but
Mhm.
I still feel like it's under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, I kind of just am inspired by something I like in the moment. So I feel
Mhm.
like there is a line of all and there is a line of traditional drag. I personally feel like if I was at my peak or if I had the finances to actually elevate and to be as polished as I know I can be and as I want to be, I feel like it would probably lean more on the alt side
Mhm.
because I am a lover of prosthetics. I want to start getting into special effects, makeup, and learning how to do stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I feel like what I possibly want to get to in terms of like makeup artistry and just drag with some comparable to like Alexis Stone.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love shit like that. Um, I think what she does is amazing.
Mhm.
The impersonations are T.
Mhm.
But I'm also inspired by I'm not saying I'm not inspired by specific people, but I'm usually inspired by like fashion houses. So like my favorite fashion house
Mhm.
is Schiaparelli. Um, I love early 2000s Dior by John Galliano. This one of my favorite eras of fashion period. So a lot of stuff like that. I love paying attention to the girls at FIT, the
Mhm.
fashion school
Yeah.
in New York. I love seeing what they make. I'm just inspired by random things, Monster High, Steven Universe,
Oh,
cartoons. Like it's just a mashup of everything, honestly. I think now what I usually do is because I don't have the finances and I don't have the time and energy to learn how to make things and stuff like that. I usually just conceptualize things and save it for the future.
Mhm.
So right now what I play off of is kind of like the female impersonation,
Mhm.
more than like kind of drag, I guess, because I feel like they're different, at least in my head. But
Mhm.
I kind of play off of the female impersonation because I feel like that works for me better than like
Mhm.
a classic. I mean, it's not necessarily. I think a classic drag eye works for me as well, but I just feel like it looks better when I lean more into that than if I was to come out in like something you can see any other drag queen wearing, honestly. No
Mhm.
shade.
Yeah, I get that 100%.
You're, like, bringing your individuality into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I feel like I don't know, I like going out and knowing that no one else is gonna look like Kai. Like, I like seeing Koee and be like, "Nobody else is gonna do this." I
Yeah.
don't really like drag where it's just like, I can put this on another queen and I wouldn't know that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, "Oh, she just got this, like, from somewhere." And don't get me wrong, like, I buy most of my things because, like I said, I don't have the time and energy to learn right now.
Mhm.
But, if I was to like, everybody has their signature. If I was to take something off of Koee and put it on somebody else, I'd be like, "That gives me Koee." You
Mhm.
know? I don't really care for things that I can take off of somebody and be like, "Oh, she looks good," or "This isn't." It's not like a brand. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It
I don't
does.
know. It's not. There's no individuality. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
no.
really care for drag like that.
The generic.
Yeah.
She said, "Just say how it is." No.
Literally.
Um, but no, yeah, no, I agree. I think that's something that sometimes I would well, I wanna say in the local community, but I think it is starting to happen a little bit on a broader scale, even with Drag Race sometimes, is I think there is this, like, mold that we feel like we need to be always. Or like, "Oh, this person looks like this, and they're, like, a winner, so we need to do this, this, and this," and yeah, that's really it does, I think, removes what drag is really about.
Mhm.
And for me, when I think of drag, it's more queer expression than anything. Um,
Mhm.
and I think the more expressive we are, the more powerful it becomes.
I think the issue is, and I talk about this all the time with other drag artists and drag sisters. I genuinely think that it's the area that we're in. In the South,
Mhm,
if you don't want to be that big wig, big hips, sequin gown, rhinestones everywhere type of drag, I'm not gonna say there's not a space for you, but it definitely is a tad bit more difficult. I feel like a lot of
mhm,
the queens down here have a certain image or a certain expectation of polishedness, and I feel
mhm.
like there's nothing wrong with striving to be polished. However, being polished doesn't necessarily always mean a rhinestone. Being
Mm.
polished doesn't always mean like, a more like a big wig or
Mhm.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can
Yeah,
have crisp, clean lines, that's great. Clean tights if that's what you wear, like, a fishnet, makeup matching your chest, neck, whatever. That's fine. However, when we start like adding elements of drag that may not go with what we're trying to do, that's where we have an issue. And I
yeah,
feel like a lot of times that is pushed onto younger queens, at least here,
yeah.
because everybody has a certain definition of polish. And because I feel like my drag sister Zanus was telling me, she was just like, we'd be eating up like in like up north. And like I was
Mhm.
telling her about I have friends in the Bay where like alt drag thrives. I
Yeah.
just feel like personally it's like the South. The South has always been behind with everything, so it's not
Mhm.
surprising to me. But it's kind of just like that's great and all. Um, but that's not me. Or
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
not what this was supposed to give. Like, if I want to give couture or give like this just stepped on a runway, I'm not gonna add a fucking rhinestone to the outfit because the rhinestone's gonna cheapen the outfit. I feel
mhm.
like I feel like and that's what a lot of times the girls don't think about. They just think about, well, you're under lights and da 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 da. And
Mhm.
that's fine and all, but it starts to look too costumey. And
Yeah,
that may not be what I'm going for with this number. I may be
exactly.
going for a reference of like 2022 Scaparelli. There
Mhm.
were no rhinestones on the outfit that I'm talking about. But because
Yeah.
you think I'm under stage lights, you think I need a rhinestone. I think it's time and place for it. But if I
Mhm.
don't have it on every outfit, am I a bad drag queen? Am I not polished? Like it's just stuff like that that I think
Yeah.
about. Um, that I kind of question. I'm kind of just like, am I not polished? Which I'm obviously not because I'm like 2 years in. I'm still growing. But am I not polished because I don't look like you?
Yeah.
No, yeah. That is so real, and I'm glad you brought up the rhinestone debate because that is such a big thing, I feel like, in drag. Like, um, and yeah, like, I think it's important to say that sometimes it can almost cheapen the outfit, and that's not always the case, like you said, time and place. But I do think there are instances where it's like, you can just throw too many of anything on a look, and it's like, "Ooh, now this is not giving what it's meant to."
Absolutely. And then Like, I understand drag is a costume for lack of better words, but I feel like I don't know, like, I just don't think you would go up to Miss Fame and be like, "Oh, you don't have rhinestones."
Yeah,
Like, that's
exactly.
not the type of drag she does.
Mhm.
She's a fashion queen, same for maybe Mika or Violet. And obviously they have times where, because like I said, there's a time and place for it. They have times where they wear
Exactly.
rhinestones, and they have times where, they have the tool and just the dramatic things that looks great
Mhm,
under light. But there's a time and place for it. And I
mhm,
feel like, I don't know. Like, I think after week 2, when I did Monique from Precious for
mhm,
celebrity impersonation, which I hated it, but I think one of the judges was like, whatever, whatever, the costume was like spot on, but like remember we're still performers, so maybe if you want to do this in the future, like get like, because she wore like a sweater, some sweatpants, and like house
mhm.
slippers. She was like, get like a rhinestone sweatshirt situation. Get like, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I get it, but it's just like sometimes, like, I don't know, like that kind of just, I was just like, I don't know, it didn't sit right in my head. Not saying that she was wrong or incorrect, but it was just like that wasn't what I was trying to give. I
Yeah,
don't know if
like,
that makes
no,
It does.
I see both sides of it because I am like, okay, like I can see how like adding a rhinestone would drag it up, but at the same time, I feel like that performance was more theater than anything, and I mean, although
Yeah.
I think that's where theater and drag have its overlap, right? And in my opinion, a lot of theater can be drag and vice versa.
Mhm.
Um, and so I feel like it really does come down to what are you trying to give? And for me, it felt more like you wanted to give that authentic character. And it's like, are you willing to sacrifice the authenticity of that character to play into the drag element?
And
And
I
sometimes that's
wasn't.
not what you want. Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't. I think the only kind of like mistake I felt like I made with that week was, um, I didn't do a mix. There wasn't a performance element or like a music element to the mix. Because I felt like, and I told Portia this because she came up to me and was like, "You did good, but like just always do a mix." And I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Well, I felt like, well, the story of the character is like traumatic and like sad, and I felt like imagine like doing a character and she's talking about like just berating her daughter, and then all of a sudden you hear like a backtrack, and I start doing an 8 count." Like I felt like that.
Yeah.
I felt like that invalidates the story, and that's what I told her. I was like, "That's why I didn't do a mix." I felt like I just wanted to put an emphasis on like what she was saying and the emotion of the scene, and
Mhm,
not cut to a sad song or something. Like, I don't know. I just feel like her daughter's talking about getting by her dad, and like
mhm.
you wanted me to, like, I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me at the time, but I
Yeah,
promise I understand. I understand the mentality, but it just didn't make sense to me at the time because I'm just
yeah,
like, girl, that kind of invalidates the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think that something just to this whole conversation that I appreciate about you as a person is I feel like you have a lot of acceptance of like different opinions because you've not once in this conversation been like, "Oh, I'm right and I'm only right." It's just like, okay, people can think differently, people can look at the art differently, and that's okay.
I
So
feel
well,
like it's more of a thought than like in practice, and
mhm.
that's obviously like something I'm working on. Like I'm sorry, I was raised by my grandma. A lot of times it's my way or the highway. So
See,
that's just something I got from her. But yeah, that's just something I'm working on because a lot of times like I'm just like ill, no. But then I have to step back and realize that like it's not about you. Like it
yeah,
is, but it's not.
yeah,
Yeah, honestly, so one thing that helped me is, like, whenever I start getting into things like that, my dad always used to tell me, the first thought is what society makes you think or, like, what you were taught to think, and then
Mm,
the second thought is the thought that you actually have. Like,
mm,
you aren't your immediate reactions to things, you are the introspective person, and if you are allowing yourself to have that second thought and you are allowing yourself to be like, "Oh, hold on, hang on. I'm actually not always right. Like, it's
mm.
okay for other people to have other opinions. They can be right too." That's you. So, like, you're doing fine.
you're doing
Doing
great,
great.
Thank
sweetie.
You're
you.
doing great. Yeah, you're doing great, sweetie.
So, as we are getting a little bit closer to the hour mark, was there anything that you wanted to touch on or talk on that we didn't really get to?
None that I can think of. I think we had some really great talking points today.
Yeah.
Um, I think I just want to emphasize that drag is everybody's, it's their own thing. I feel
Mhm.
like there are different definitions of polishness and there's different definitions of, I don't know, drag is supposed to make people happy at the end of the day. I do
Right.
feel like if you do want to get to that point where it is bookable or it is marketable or it is whatever, when we look at a business aspect, you do have to, elevate or you do have to do certain things, which sometimes it is kind of unfortunate because like we were just talking about, it can be kind of limiting for alt queens, especially when you're in
Mhm.
the South. I had this conversation with another queen recently, how like she moved to the triangle and it was like a shell shock because it's just like, girl, oh, y'all don't, this is too much for y'all. Okay. So it's like, I think I just want to put an emphasis on like, just be you. Don't
Mhm.
be afraid to elevate. However, comma, always make sure that you're elevating according to what's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you have to put yourself in a box or be forced into spaces to fit in with a certain crowd. And that's one thing I would advise new queens as someone that's been doing it for 2 years now. Don't feel the need to fit in with anybody or to be friends with any and everybody. I think it's great to make connections on the business aspect of drag, obviously, but in terms of like being personable, I think it's great every now and then, but stay focused on your craft, stay focused on getting better, stay focused on yourself. This is a At the end of the day, we're in the entertainment industry. It is very hard to, excuse me, it's very easy to get caught up into things that may damage your passion because at the end of the day, we're surrounded by drugs and alcohol and people that we don't really know. So I would say stay true to yourself, stay safe, and honestly, focus on the end goal. I think my end goal with drag is honestly, I want to be a business
Mhm.
mogul. I love skincare. I love makeup. I think it's my passion. It would be my passion to have a skincare and makeup business. And
Mm,
just stem off of that. And go into other areas like
Mhm.
fashion, furniture, um, houseware. I love that. I love the thought of that. I love the thought of being an entrepreneur and just extending my brand past drag. I love acting. I love improv. That's something what want to dive into as well. Um, and I would love to um, even dive further into fashion, walking runways,
Mhm.
um, just working with other creatives. I just, like I said, focus on your end goal for drag. I think I'm not gonna say you should have an end goal for drag or you should go into it. Um, do it because you love it, honestly.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a business planning in mind. Not everybody wants to grow it. Drag race isn't everybody's final crescendo, whatever word I couldn't think
Right.
of. So I honestly would just say stick true to yourself at the end of it. I feel like that's so like cliche, but it's honestly true. I feel like the
Yeah.
most cliche advices are the ones people miss. But definitely
No, yeah.
for
I
drag.
agree 100%. And, like, to anyone listening, like, if you don't find a space that feels like you or feels accepting of you, create it.
mhm,
Reach out to people, talk to businesses. I mean, I know you know that with, like, starting Kyology and, like, doing the stuff you've been doing, and I feel the same way. I feel like it's really I don't know. I feel like when I came into drag, although there was like I feel like the alternative scene is growing and there's more
Hmm.
space, but I was kinda like, "You know what? This isn't 100% encompassing of, like, what I wanna see." So that's
Yeah.
why I started show producing and doing things because I was like, "You know what? If there's not gonna be a place where people cannot stress about all the little nitty-gritty things, then I'm going to be a part to create it."
mhm,
Um, and I think a lot of people really underestimate their own power in that and their own I don't know, their own ability to do that.
Absolutely. I definitely will say that keep your head on, be business minded, and think
Mhm,
straight. Show
okay.
producing and creating your own lane. I feel like a lot of times it's easier said than done, especially in
That
these
is true.
kind of like monopolized businesses.
Mhm,
I feel like no shade, we can go to a club and somebody it'll be like the same owners.
mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like when you're creating your own space, especially as queer people, it can be harder. So I definitely would say keep going to anybody that's interested in that.
Yeah.
Have a clear vision in mind. Don't come to the
Mhm.
table disorganized because businesses can see that, excuse me.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I want to strive with show producing. I want to strive to create my space. I think right now, and I'm accomplishing that is booking the ballroom girls that were on the
Mhm.
season with me. Um, it's not saying that they're not getting bookings because they obviously are, but I definitely want to create a space for them,
Mhm.
um, to know that like, girl, we went through this together. Like, if I have an opportunity, you're gonna have an opportunity because we went
Yeah,
through this
exactly.
together.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like a pleasant process, like it wasn't a cult or anything or anything crazy, but
Yeah.
why not spread the wealth amongst people that you just did a whole competition with? At least that's my thought
Yeah.
process. So definitely, I will say, it's like I said, show producing and creating your lane, it's not always easy,
Yeah.
especially when you're starting from the ground up. If your
Mhm.
show's on a Saturday and the most popular club in the area is having a show Saturday as well, you're gonna have to work 10 times as hard to get an audience to
Yeah.
that your show. And that's what I'm slowly learning.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it just
Yeah.
keep going. It's not gonna be easy.
Mhm.
Um, hard work. I hate to say, because hard work doesn't get you things you want. However, because that's just life. That's just life.
Mhm.
So you can work as hard as you want and still not get your end result. However, I would rather die saying I tried and I worked my hardest and didn't get it than not
Mhm.
tried at
Mhm.
all and never knew the outcome. So anybody that would like to show produce or anybody that's interested in creating their own lane if they feel left out, for one, like I said, be business minded, but keep going. It's not going to be
Yeah.
easy. It's a bumpy ride. Life isn't easy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that
Just
you
come
brought up that.
prepared.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up that point too, because I'm so good at being like, oh, the positive aspect. But no, it is true. It is a lot of hard work. And I do think it is possible for anybody. But that being said, everything that you said, you do have to get that business head on. You got to be organized. You got to realize that you're going to go through troubles. I mean, girl, venues, it can be a
Yeah.
struggle. It can be a struggle. like, but yeah.
Yeah. I will say don't stress about everything as well. I'm learning
Mhm.
that as well.
Yeah.
Um, every little detail can't always be perfect
Yeah.
because perfection doesn't exist. Be okay with change. Don't be so rigid, especially when it comes to business because things change a mile a minute. So
Mhm.
I definitely would say that as well. You can have expectations, but don't be so if it
Rigid?
doesn't go this way. Yes, rigid. If it doesn't go this way, you're like trying to kill yourself. Just
Yeah.
be open to change, you know. And honestly think that's the key to success. Be open to change
Yeah.
and just know where you want to go. Because at the end of the day, nobody who's successful now in the public eye woke up one day and was like, I want to be a singer. I'm gonna submit a demo to a record label and they're gonna love it. No, that's not how
Yeah.
life works. You could be in a
Mm-mm.
gas station humming a tune and then somebody here and be like, yeah, like I like you. Like life is not
Yeah.
linear. Just keep going.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sitting down and getting up so early and doing
Of
this today.
course.
Yeah, and can you
Thank you
share your
for
socials,
having
everyone?
me.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It always happens
It
with the
always does.
virtual.
It always does. Do you wanna share your socials with everyone so everybody can follow you?
I'm sure. The only relevant social medias that I have would be Instagram and YouTube. So my Instagram is underscore Kyology, Kaiology. And then YouTube is Kyology Productions. I post my performances. I'm gonna try to start posting like just tutorials or just a talk with me or like come with me to do this as a drag artist, like on a show. I'm trying to be more interactive in creative platforms so I can look back and be like, okay, this is my growth. Because like I said, I'm always trying to elevate. But those are the main two platforms that I use to spread drag. Um, and just my art, honestly. So yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queer Vision podcast and for sitting down with Kai with us. Um, Kai had amazing thoughts about drag and about performance, and I hope that you got something from this because I know we sure did. So if you'd like to support her, you can go to her socials, which I always forget. Can you
It
please?
is underscore Kyology on Instagram or Kyology Productions on YouTube.
And it's okay because if you forget any of that stuff, you can go to queeralina.org and you can go to our featured queers page and you can find every single person we've interviewed and every single person that's been in the Queer Vision magazine
Mhm.
and supported the vision, as well as sharing their own story. So you can find Kai under the performers tab. Um,
You can also find us at queeralina.org on all socials, as well as We Are Nasty Queer for our 18 plus side and Queer Vision Mag for all of the magazine and podcast.
so come join us. And then maybe you can share your vision too.
Right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. I feel like they're.
Oh, we made it blurry.
Oh no. Sorry, this camera sometimes.
I mean, she can't tell. It's okay.
Not she can't tell. That's she can't tell.
Just
I
a
can
little
blur. I
bit.
was just blind before.
Okay.
So I guess
Okay.
Oh, there we
already
go. There
blurred
we
for her.
go.